This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining us today is Sean Wade, the CEO of Power Metal Resources. Thank you very much for joining us again. Sean, how are you doing?
Very well, Mark. Thanks very much for having me back on.
Now, it's good to talk to you, Sean. Now, you've had a couple of months in the role at Power. How are you finding it? What's been going on?
Well, it's been fantastic, Mark. I mean, it's obviously been extremely busy. We've had a lot going on, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to talk about that news flow today. So it's good to be back and good to talk to our shareholders.
Excellent. I just want to pick up on some sort of feedback we're getting from the market that the comms style is very different. I think with Paul, people are very used to regular RNSs and lots of media, but that's not the style of everyone. So do you want to make a comment on that, on the style of communication from Pow now?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing, what I would say on that, look, is that, news flow can be a little bit like London buses. I mean, we've had a period where we've been extremely busy. And a lot of announcements have come along all at the same time. I mean, obviously, it would be great to be able to space them out, but our regulatory obligations are such that when news is in a form that it has to be released, we do that, but we don't always have control over exactly when things go out. Having said that, I'm very conscious, the feedback, and I know that shareholders want to be kept informed of what we're doing, and we're always looking at ways we can improve our communication. So, going forward, we will, take all that feedback on board, and we hope that we can give shareholders what they want.
Okay, excellent. Well, let me come on to some recent news. That is, of course, the listing of Golden Metal Resources. This was, of course, a big part of certainly Paul Johnson, the previous CEO's strategy for the company was to get these other vehicles listed in a way. So we've had Golden Metal, of course, we're still expecting first Development Resources and, of course, New Ballarat Gold Corporation. But let's just go through sort of in order, first of all, starting with Golden Metal Resources. That finally did get its listing the other day. So a validation of the business model. Could you just perhaps elaborate on this process and what it meant for the company once that spin out officially happened?
No, absolutely. I mean, look, when I came in, 2 months ago, we did a talk, didn't we, about what the objectives were for the business, and I set out very clearly that Golden Metal Resources was our number one priority. Get that over the line, get the Malopo test results out, which we can talk about in a minute. But Golden Metal was the number one priority, and I'm absolutely delighted that that's happened. I'm thrilled to bits for Oliver. He's worked incredibly hard on this. It has taken time. These markets are difficult. Persuading investors that the vision that we have, or that Oliver has for the company, is the right one. It has been a great task, and he's succeeded in that. And I'm absolutely convinced that with the asset he's got, the team he's got, the shareholders he now has, and also the support of Power Metal, that there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that he's going to deliver a great result for the shareholders. So it's fantastic to see that happen. And we all enjoyed our trip to the London Stock Exchange yesterday to open the market, and really great event, and a great event for Oliver in particular. So that's now done, and he now will take that business forward, and it's on to the next one for us. And as you say, First Development Resources is the next one off the block. Again, I mean, look, we're very lucky at Power. We've got in Tristan a fantastic CEO. He's incredibly passionate about his asset set, and we're marketing that very, very vigorously. We've got some very good indications in London that of interest there, and we're going to go also to Australia to talk to some investors and capital market participants there, and see what the appetite could be in First Development's home market, as it were. And I'm certain we're going to get that over the line very soon. It's I think market conditions are easing. I've been at the one-to-one conference this week, and the attitude, I think, of investors is really significantly more positive than it was a year ago. So I think we can be very confident about First Development and its IPO. New Ballarat, as people know, is also in Australia. It's a great asset set down in Victoria. And it's long been our intention to IPO that. And when we put out the results from Baringa the other day, I commented that it's a challenging asset because it's nugget gold, and it's very hard on that basis to establish a reliable grade. And that really has to be validated by further exploration. Now, to do that, really, we need to do what we said we were going to do, which is an IPO to fund that. What these results allow us to do is to really set about that. And that's definitely a task for later on this year. First development first is going to be followed up by New Ballarat. So that's the IPO program. We also said a couple of months ago that getting the Malopo test results out was important. We've done that, and I think people generally are pretty satisfied that we've done a good job there, proved out the geological model, and set the scene for, I think, some very productive conversations with potential strategic joint venture partners. So we're excited about the opportunity there. And in other news, as they say, we've had the exciting development of bringing on Bill Brody-Good as a non-executive director. Bill has got 30 years experience plus in global exploration, project management. People will know him most recently as the CEO of Avalia Metals, also listed on AIM. But this is a guy with a fantastic track record of discoveries and a great network, and we're very, very lucky to have him. And what he does obviously is significantly strengthen our technical capability and our ability to understand the results we're getting and the opportunities we have going forward. So, on behalf of all the board, and I'm sure the shareholders are very happy to welcome Bill on board. So those have been the major bits of news flow that I think people have, well, not with the exception of Bill, I suppose, been expecting. But I think what perhaps wasn't expected, and what we've been very pleased to be able to announce, is the placing earlier this week with the participation of Rick Rule through his term oil vehicle. I mean, Rick will be very familiar, I'm sure, to shareholders as a highly experienced and successful natural resources investor. And to have his validation of our story is really great for us. And I think he's coming at a point in the market where a lot of people would say, well, I think certainly a lot of people would hope that this is the bottom of the market for mining companies in general. And I think, but having Rick on board and obviously the shareholders that come with his endorsement is great for us. And as I said, a real vote of confidence in what we're doing.
Well, yes, indeed. I mean, that's a significant amount of money raised, £2.71 million there, and £1 million of that being by Rick Rule himself. And many people, as you say, will know Rick Rule as a pretty shrewd investor in the natural resources and commodities space. So he must have liked the investment proposition that Power are offering. I mean, you must have had a conversation with him about it.
We certainly did. And we talked about our project generator model, the incubator model, and it is something that obviously he likes and is keen to invest in. And I think he can see what we've got, which is a world-class uranium asset or collection of licenses, I should say. We've got the nickel assets, which everybody knows about, and the various other parts of the business which are generating value and are generating either IPOs, spin-outs, or disposals. And and I think that's really what he's looking for. And as I say, it is a great validation. But I think what's also important is to talk a little bit about, okay, what are we going to do with this investment? Because it's a lot of capital. It's obviously come at a very helpful time for us as we're embarking on a number of projects. But I think people know, I think that in respect to Malopo, we've done the work there to get the drill program to where it is. So we're now looking for a strategic investor to take it on. So that's not a big call on our cash at the moment. Baringa, likewise, we've done a drilling program which has got it to a point where we're now going to talk about an IPO. So where is our exploration spend going? And the answer to that is simple. It's into the uranium licenses in and around the Athabasca Basin. We want to get cracking as soon as we can with some early stage work, some geophysical analysis and desktop work to really try and establish the drilled targets and the exploration program going forward. So people can expect, I think, from us to hear specifically on the uranium assets, where we are on that going forward in terms of our early stage exploration results. And I hope to be able to update the market on that very soon. So that's really the main thing. I mean, we run a pretty capital light model. There's not much of it is for sort of G&A and working capital. It's absolutely focused on going into the ground and into exploration.
Okay, well, thank you for that, because I do want to just follow up on perhaps a bit of the business strategy or the model, because you're a different CEO to Paul, although you're not radically changing the strategy, but things are definitely happening that were set up during Paul's time, of course, the spin-outs there. So the idea is we get the spin-outs off Pow's books, but into a separate vehicle that will then give an investment, whatever that value is of that vehicle, that will go onto Pow's balance sheet, though. So there'll be some solid backing, I would say, to the market cap of Pow coming from Golden Metal Resources, First Development Resources, and New Ballarat Gold. Once those are the two listed as well, they will then be you will then not be having any day-to-day responsibility for operating of those projects. It's a responsibility of the new CEOs and their teams. So we get the upside potential there from the increase in value from those activities of the company that you would have to obviously communicate as well to the market so they can see value. But from Pow's point of view, in terms of direct project interest, the focus is now going to be on uranium, is it? Because you've mentioned about Malopo Farms, you're looking for a partner. So is that really the focus now, uranium as an operator and owner?
That's right. I mean, that's as I say, that's where we are directing our exploration spending, at this point, because, we're at very early days there. We've got the licenses, and we need to work out, what those areas contain, or get some idea of what they contain, so that we can do a proper exploration drilling program. I mean, I don't want to mislead people and just think that, Power is now just about uranium. I mean, we are still, very much a project incubator. We have those other assets that you mentioned, and we, in some cases, we're active owners, as it were, or we're slightly more passive investors. But the portfolio that Paul has put in place, and the one that, obviously I 100% support, and why I came on board, is this excellent set of uranium licenses where we have an opportunity to really add a lot of value. So that's what we're doing. Does that mean that the only things we're ever going to invest in going forward is uranium? Not necessarily, by any means. There are lots of opportunities in this market. We're called Power Metals, and we're looking for assets, across the commodity set, which fit with our model, which is obviously battery metals and metals that are going to assist with the decarbonisation process that the world is going through. So uranium is the focus at the moment, because that's where we've got the opportunity. But over the long term, it's not necessarily going to be purely a uranium story.
Okay. And in terms of getting value from the spin-outs, the new vehicles, would you look to divest at some point? Would that be the idea?
Yeah, I mean, all options are on the table. I mean, my 100% focus is on delivering for shareholders. So, where it makes sense to do so, we will look at that. I mean, we're extremely conscious that a lot of our shareholders have had, frankly, a very tough time over the last couple of years. They've been asked to put more money into the business, and it's time to get the share price up. It's time to unlock the inherent value, which we all know is there, and it's my job to do that. So whatever it takes to add value, and where it's sensible steps that we can do to help people realize the value of their investment, we will do so.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Of course, you took part in the placing as well, didn't you, yourself, putting your own money in? Of course, people like to see that as well.
Yes, absolutely. I'm absolutely delighted to do that. Obviously, I mean, I said 2 months ago that I wanted to join shareholders on the journey. I mean, obviously, we have a management incentive scheme with options and so on, but direct investment is much more important. So, I mean, what's held me back from being able to do it up to now, frankly, is, I've had information, that the market doesn't have. So, once you're cleansed of that, you're able to deal. And people will have noticed, obviously, that, we had announcements coming out last week, and fortunately that allowed me to be able to do that. So I'm delighted to be able to invest, and, I hope to be, as I said, alongside everybody as we unlock this value.
Okay. Final question, Sean, on unlocking the value and delivering for shareholders. What will you be doing to do that? Exploring at the uranium projects to prove up a resource? Where will you actually be trying to add value?
Well, the uranium exploration, as you say, I think there's a fantastic opportunity there, notwithstanding the fact that we think that the world is set for a big bull market in the uranium price. So, the value of that asset will go up, as well as our ability to add value to it, along the way. But there are also the other things we've talked about: getting a strategic joint venture partner for Malopo, getting First Development away, getting New Ballarat away. These are all serious value accretive transactions when they happen. So, and I think people have seen that. Okay, the share price has been tough. We know that. and we're extremely focused on trying to do something about that. But what we can do is, increase the asset value on our balance sheet, and that we have done. The market will take care of the share price, much as I would love to be able to control it. What we can control is delivering on our objectives, increasing that balance sheet strength, and these recent transactions and news flow, I think, really do that. So going forward, delivering on the objectives that I set out there, those IPOs, the strategic joint ventures, and the exploration program.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you for spelling that out. I will be keeping an eye on that and picking you up on those points in future interviews. But thank you very much for your time for today. Sean Wade, the CEO of Power Metal Resources.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mark, very much.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.